Welcome to the ENFLP, the Egyptian National Football League podcast. My name is Muzzy.
And I'm Yasmeen.
You are not Abdul.
No, I am not.
Where is Abdul?
I don't know.
Me neither. I actually have no idea where Abdul is. It's been a whole week. I've been calling him. I've been texting him. He hasn't been replying. I don't know what happened to him.
Is he okay?
I think he is. The Eid holiday came up, and I think he ran away from Cairo. He had to break off work, and he just ran away.
Right.
And not only did he run away from his work and from Cairo, he ran away from me.
Well, what a flake.
Yes, and we had made a deal, me and him, that we were going to do this every week, that we were going to be very diligent with our podcast, and it's only the second week.
The question is, Muzzy, can you depend on him for the rest of the season?
I hope so. I really hope so. If not, you're here, and I'm really grateful for you joining us, our guest host, Yasmeen. There's nothing hotter than a girl who knows her football.
Except that this girl does not know any football.
Nothing. What do you know about football?
I know that it's a game played with a ball.
Okay.
And there are dudes on the team.
Right.
And they kick it to each other and they run after it.
That's soccer.
Right.
Yeah.
This is not football.
No, we're talking about the other football, the American football.
Oh, the American football. Yes, of course.
This is a great start. What an excellent start for the ENFLP second episode. We're going to be fine. Today we're going to talk about the week one, what happened in week one, the big topics of week one.
It's been a big week.
It's been a big week. Do you know what happened this week in the NFL?
Games happened. People won. People lost.
Exactly.
It's been exciting.
Exactly. And I will tell you all about the details and the hot topics. I want to stick to the hot topics. I don't want to talk in detail about every single game. But before we get to that, I want to get to something very important. We at the ENFLP do not have an intro song to our episodes. We are going to create one right now. We're going to create an improv song for each episode live. Well, not live because we're recording this and then we're going to post it later. But in this moment, we're going to create a song. Are you ready?
I am ready.
All right, I'm just going to go ahead and create a tempo here and you go along with me.
All right,
okay,
let's
Yasmeen?
do it.
Let's go. 3, 2, 1. Ba ba da ba ba da ba ba da ba ba da ba ENFLP ENFLP ba ba da ba ba da ba ENFLP. Ready, set, hut ENFLP ENFLP Red 32 Omaha ENFLP Reese for the touchdown.
Okay, that's enough.
ENFLP. That was pretty good.
All right, yeah, it works.
We're gonna use that every week.
Okay.
Every week that's gonna be playing before our episodes. Okay. Let's get started. I want to talk about the first game in week one, the Carolina Panthers at the Denver Broncos. This was a Super Bowl rematch. I personally do not like that they held the Super Bowl rematch as the first game of the season. Commercially, it's fantastic. These are the two teams who played in the final, in case you didn't know, Yasmeen. And they made them play again the first game of the season.
Why?
The reason why I don't like that is because the Carolina Panthers had a great season last year. I don't think it was fair for them to dwell on their loss the whole summer and have to play the team that beat them in the Super Bowl again in the first week and play away from home the first week. I think that's unprofessional and not fair to the Carolina Panthers, and I think that's a sign of the NFL caring more about money than caring more about their teams.
But it is an enterprise. They have to care about the money.
Exactly, and that's something that's really important. We cannot forget that the NFL is a business first. They care more about business than anything else.
And again, we do live in a capitalist world, so of course they gotta care about the money.
Exactly.
So how did the Panthers do in the rematch?
The Panthers lost 21-20. This was a very close game. The Panthers could have easily won this game.
Mm-hmm.
The Broncos had a new quarterback in Siaman. I had to look his name up. I couldn't pronounce his name.
Siaman.
Simeon.
Simeon.
I'm still struggling on how to say his name. Trevor Simeon. Trevor Simeon. He had an okay game. He didn't have an excellent game. I don't think he's the quarterback of their future. It's the first game. He's going to make mistakes. Even John Elway, their general manager, said that he was going to make mistakes.
I mean, you got to give the guy a break.
Exactly.
It's his first game, like you just said.
Exactly. But, Paxton Lynch is their future at quarterback, hopefully. That's what I'm hoping for. And I think he did well for what and they got the win. But they got the win because of their defense. Their defense battered Cam Newton. But they hit him really hard. They hit him in the head so many times in that game. they were all over him, and it got to the point where it was extremely dangerous. And the reason why they hit him in the head so much is because Cam Newton is the kind of player that if he is healthy, he's going to destroy you. So they were trying to get him injured. They were trying to get him not in balance so they can win the game, and they did well. And they won because of that.
Because they hit him in the head repeatedly.
They hit him in the head repeatedly. Exactly.
All right.
So good for the Broncos. The Super Bowl winner. The records are in the history books. The Super Bowl winner always tends to win the first game of the season. But let's see what happens to them going forward. The only question for me about this game is, where is Demaryius Thomas? This is a Pro Bowl wide receiver. Where has he been? He hasn't had a good year last year. Very average stats, and this game he got injured, and I'm just worried that Demaryius Thomas is gonna have a downfall, and I hope he doesn't. I'm just hoping that he comes back strong this year, but we'll see. Let's move on to the next game. The Raiders and the Saints. The Oakland Raiders at the New Orleans Saints. Mm-hmm. Now, you know the New Orleans Saints very well.
I do know the New Orleans Saints very well.
And why do you know the New Orleans Saints very well?
Because you are their number one fan.
Who that say they go beat them Saints? Who that say they go beat them Saints? Nice try.
All right.
Yeah. This game was, wow. I literally was lying down on the floor for a good 10-15 minutes with my hands covering my face after this game because I was so heartbroken. I have never been that sad from a loss in a really long time.
I did see a picture. You looked quite sad.
Yeah. This is a game where the Saints were up 24-10. Mm-hmm. We had the game in our hands. Our defense was playing excellent. Our offense was on fire. Drew Brees hit Brandon Cooks on a 98-yard touchdown pass. Brandon Cooks' speed was amazing. Everything looked promising. We had the ball. All we had to do was score one more touchdown. But then what happened? Do you know what happened?
I do not know what happened. Tell me what happened.
Sean Payton, our head coach, can no longer win close games. Instead of giving the ball to Mark Ingram and running the game out, he kept on throwing the ball. He had some weird play calling. And the Raiders caught up to the Saints, and the Raiders beat us 35-34.
That's a shame, because that's also a pretty close, tight game.
Yeah, and it was last second. I was just devastated. Our cornerback, Delvin Breaux, got injured, and we only have rookie cornerbacks now. This was a game where I was like, this is it. We can win a Super Bowl because we finally have a good defense. Our offense is as good as it ever has been. And then we lost it. And even when the Raiders did their 2-point conversion and they were up 35-34, we still had the ball. We had time in our hands to get a field goal. And we gave a rookie kicker the chance to win us the game with a 61-yard kick. And I was like, this could happen. He could actually make this kick. A 61-yarder. The record in the NFL is 63. So it was a tall task to ask of a rookie kicker in his first game in the NFL to kick a 61-yarder. And he kicked it left and he missed it. And I think the Saints are done. I can't see us.
All right.
I'm just so heartbroken.
You cannot lose hope.
No.
Like you said.
No.
Their defense is up and strong. They can do it. They can pull back from this.
Our defense fell apart in this game, and we let down silly mistakes, and we let them score silly touchdowns. We should have stopped their 2-point conversion. I'm just so upset.
Well, I don't know what a 2-point conversion means, but but why do mistakes happen, Muzzy?
It's all in the head coaching. It's all in the management.
Mistakes happen so that you can learn from them.
No, in the NFL, the game is a head coaching game. The head coach, how he prepares his team is how well they'll do on the field. And Sean Payton, for me, he no longer can win close games. And he can no longer call the right plays at the right time towards the end of the game. And I think it was his reason why we lost that game. I fully blame him. And our defense falling apart, just rookie mistakes, bad tackling, and whatever. I don't want to talk about it anymore. The Saints, whatever Saints. But good for the Raiders. They deserved it, and I hope they continue and they do well for the rest of the season.
Chin up, Muzzy, chin up.
Next game, let's talk about the Green Bay Packers and the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Packers won 27-23. Eddie Lacy looked good. He didn't have a lot of carries, but he looked good. The defense of the Packers held up against the Jaguars, and I was very, very confident in the Packers to win this game. I could not see them winning. Hey, Aaron Rodgers is a winning quarterback, okay? Anytime you have Aaron Rodgers back there, he can beat teams like the Jaguars. The Jaguars still need to improve so they can beat the big teams. This is what I was talking about in the last episode. The Jaguars, there's no way that Gus Bradley can beat the big teams in the NFL, and this game showed everything I was talking about. They had a chance to win this game, and they couldn't pull it off, but kudos to the Packers.
Kudos to the Packers.
Do you know why the Packers are called the Packers?
No, I don't.
Can you find out and tell me? Because until today, I still don't know why the Green Bay Packers are called the Green Bay Packers. You're going to find out right now and tell us?
I will find it out right now and tell you.
Excellent. Their nickname is the Cheesehead, so maybe it has something to do with packing cheese.
Oh, I love me some
Packing cheese. All right, the next game, the Chicago Bears at the Houston Texans. The Houston Texans won this game 23-14. Good for the Texans. Everything I said about them came true. Osweiler had a good game. Miller had a good game running the ball. And the defense dominated the Chicago Bears, not letting them score a single point in the second half. And the Bears did everything I said they would do, which is flop.
Good for you for calling that.
Yeah, this show is mostly for me.
Yes.
You know, we are doing this hoping that someone's going to listen, but I'm here to make predictions and see if my predictions come true.
Right. Just to validate yourself.
Exactly. It's a very egotistical thing, but hey, everyone has their egotistical moments, you know what I mean?
Sure, Muzzy, sure.
No, but good for the Texans. I hope they keep it up. I hope J.J. Watt comes fully back, and this is a good way to start for the Houston Texans. Let's go on to the next game. The Cleveland Browns against the Philadelphia Eagles. Completely different teams playing against each other. You have a team in the Browns who have trouble at the quarterback position, and you have the Eagles who just drafted a rookie quarterback who shined and did an excellent job. Wentz had 278 yards and 2 touchdowns, while RG3 of the Browns got injured, and we probably won't be seeing him until week 10. And even then, I don't think we'll see him again this season unless their backup has a terrible season. The Browns, when I tell you a team is called the Cleveland Browns,
yes.
What do you think of when I say that? That's a really long silence.
That is a really long silence.
I mean, you could have
kind of put me on the spot there.
You could have brought up, you could have said anything.
I could have.
You could have literally
See,
said
the only
anything.
thing that I could think of was a pile of shit.
There you go. That's exactly what I wanted. That's all I wanted. I didn't set that up because every time, like I did this to Abdul last week, I asked Abdul without setting it up, when I say Browns, what do you think of? And he said shit. And then I asked you this week, when I say Browns, what do you think of? And you said shit.
Shit.
And that's what they play like. They play like shit.
Right.
Okay? The Cleveland Browns, look, I'm a big fan of Hugh Jackson. I think he's a really good offensive-minded coach, but they've had quarterback troubles ever since '99. And it's gone too far. It's really gone too far. They need a quarterback savior. They need a Drew Brees to save their franchise.
Right.
And I really hope they get it because this is getting to a point where it's just embarrassing. But good for the Eagles. They looked really good. They looked really sharp. I hope they can keep it up. I'm excited. Matthews, their running back, had a good game, 77 yards, rushing, 1 touchdown. And Jordan Matthews, their wide receiver, had a really good game with 114 yards receiving and 1 touchdown. He would be a very good pickup for any of those who play fantasy. But let's move on from the Eagles and the Browns. Let's talk about the Bucks and the Falcons. This game for me is a very big game because this game is a momentum changer in the NFL. The Tampa Bay Bucks looked amazing.
Amazing indeed.
The Tampa Bay Bucks look scary. They're in the same division with the Saints, and I'm scared from this team. They look really legit. Big game. Jameis Winston, their quarterback, 281 yards, 4 touchdowns. The Falcons only look threatening in their passing game. They only had 55 yards rushing. And you have really good running backs. Why aren't you using them? Why are you making Matt Ryan your only quarterback? Mm-hmm. But good for the Bucks. I'm really scared of the Bucks. The Falcons, I'm not too worried about them. But good job for the Bucks. All right, let's move on. The Vikings and the Titans. Now, this is a very big talking point because I made a lot of predictions. And I gave the Vikings a lot of heat last week for the whole Bridgewater thing. But I was wrong to overlook their defense. Their defense won them the game. Their defense scored 2 touchdowns. They returned an interception for a touchdown. They returned a fumble on a touchdown, and that's why they won the game. They gave the Titans offense a really difficult game, and I had a lot of hope on the Titans, but I still have a lot of hope on the Titans because of their roster. But the Vikings winning 25-16, good for them. I'm happy for them with everything that's been happening with them. They deserve this victory. I still don't think they'll be able to keep it up against better teams than the Titans.
Right.
I think the Titans are still an improving team, so I don't see them improving that well.
Well, let me interrupt you.
Yes.
But it seems one of the origin stories of why the Packers are called the Packers is because in 1919, the founders of the Green Bay team got their funding for their uniforms from the Indian Packing Company, which specializes in canned meat. So not packing cheese, but packing meat, and that is apparently where the Packers got their name.
That's amazing.
Yes.
But that's also very lame as well.
Well, what are you going to do? It's their history.
Let's call our name over the company that gave us our uniform.
But also because...
The packing company.
But also because their area where they're from...
Right.
Packed or canned meat is an important source of their income.
Well, there you go, Yasmeen. That's why you're here.
That's why I'm here.
You've done
to do
more
the
in 10 minutes than Abdu's done in 2 weeks.
Look at that.
So thank you for that. We appreciate that. All right, let's move on to the Bengals at the Jets. The Bengals won a very close game, 23-22. Wow. These two teams are very strong teams. What a game it was. But you know what? The Bengals kept that Jets offense in check. And they had a very big game. A.J. Green and Andy Dalton had a very good game. Good for them winning a close game. Matt Forte, the Jets running back. Last week I was talking about how I was hoping that the Jets offense is going to fill up the hole that Chris Ivory left behind. By the way, what do you think of the name Chris Ivory?
Chris Ivory.
Chris Ivory.
I like that name. Sounds like a superstar.
Can't you imagine the Chris Ivory world?
Chris Ivory world.
Wouldn't you want to be in the Chris Ivory world?
You know what, Muzzy? I think I would like to be in the Chris Ivory world.
Me too.
It sounds like a very clean, pristine world.
Fair enough. Clean and pristine, all right. No, but Matt Forte, he really filled up a really big hole. I was wrong to overlook him. He's an old running back, but he's always been solid his whole career, and I think he's going to be very, very dependable for the Jets. I'm really sad that I don't have him on my fantasy team. Do you have a fantasy team?
I do not have a fantasy team.
Why do you not have a fantasy team?
Because as we established in the first minute of this episode, I know nothing about football.
I don't know why you're here, honestly.
Well, you brought me here, so really it's all on you.
I just needed someone to talk to while I do this.
Well then, now we all know why I'm here.
Because if you're not here, I would just be talking stats, and I would just be saying what happened, and there would be no banter.
See, I offer the witty banter, the back and forth.
Exactly.
I'm the sounding board.
I need the back and forth.
Yes, I'm here for your self-validation.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
High five.
All right.
Yeah, that was a really good high five. My hand kind of hurts.
Well recovered.
Because of that high five. All right, let's move on to the San Diego Chargers at the Kansas City Chiefs. Woo! What happened in that game?
It was a tight game, brother.
Yeah, but it was ridiculous because the San Diego Chargers were up 27-10. And then what happened?
33 scored the Chiefs against the Chargers, who got 27 points.
Wow.
That was a very roundabout way of saying the score, but there we have it.
That must have been the worst way anyone has ever said
well,
what's happened in a game
and it's been done, and that's that.
That was very awkward.
You have to accept it.
That was really awkward.
And just take it, I know.
All right, anyway, the Chiefs won. No, we're going to move on, because that was really awkward, and I don't want to ever redo that again.
Let us move on.
The Kansas City Chiefs won 33-27. This game was awesome, because the San Diego Chargers showed what I was talking about being a franchise, being a team that is unstable. How can you be up 27-10 and lose a game? Wait, the Saints were up 24-10, lost the game. The Saints are also a really bad franchise.
Right.
So, hey, I know what I'm talking about when I talk about bad franchises because I support a bad franchise. And the San Diego Chargers, you should be ashamed of yourselves.
Right.
After everything that's happened with the offseason with Bosa, and then you lose the first game like this, in overtime to the Kansas City Chiefs like this. But good for the Chiefs. They deserved it. Alex Smith, I'm very happy for him. If you don't know about Alex Smith, let me tell you a story about Alex Smith, okay? This was a quarterback who was drafted number 1 in the draft. He was taken first. Okay, he came out of college. The 49ers took him first. He was the first player taken.
Right.
Had a lot of hype. He didn't do very well the 49ers. But it turned out because it was the coaching. The coaching didn't help him. Okay?
You need good coaching. You need that good support.
Later on in his career with the 49ers, he started doing well, winning games, and they later went to the playoffs to beat the Saints, but that doesn't matter. But then he left and went to the Chiefs, and his career has now made sense why he's a number 1 pick. I love Alex Smith. I think he's a winning quarterback. I'm very happy for him. He was in the same draft that Aaron Rodgers was taken in. Everyone was saying why the 49ers didn't take Aaron Rodgers, and they took Alex Smith. But hey, Alex Smith deserves a lot of credit, and this game showed why. This is a guy who came back and scored 23 points.
That's a lot of points.
Yeah, to be in the San Diego Chargers. Good for them. I want to talk about Spencer Ware, the Chiefs running back. This guy had 70 yards rushing and 1 touchdown and 129 receiving yards.
Wow.
This guy is amazing. I have him on my fantasy team. If you don't have him, if he's probably a free agent right now, get him now. He's going to be doing this all season. All right, let's move on to the
Dolphins and the Seahawks.
Exactly. Dolphins were playing at the Seahawks. This was a very defensive game. The Seahawks won 12-10. The Seahawks destroyed Ryan Tannehill, the Dolphins quarterback. Okay?
They did indeed.
It was very sad. It was extremely sad watching that happen. It was like watching men play against a boy who was being guarded by boys, and the Dolphins had no answer for the Seahawks, and it was just sad. It was extremely sad.
I gotta say, I definitely shed a tear watching that game.
Yes, you definitely
watched that game. Except that I didn't watch it.
Except you didn't watch it, whatever. But no, hey, the Seahawks have had a good defense ever since Pete Carroll took over there. Their defense has been very consistent. I love this Seahawks team. They just need to be more effective on offense. They need to score more touchdowns. Once they fix that and they score more touchdowns rather than keeping the ball for a really long time and then just punting it away, this team can be very dangerous, and they're always going to be in contention for Super Bowls, so good for them. Good for them. Let's move on to the Detroit Lions at the Indianapolis Colts. 39-35, the Lions winning this game. Now, this game is really important.
Of course it is. All games are very important.
Now, to all the players who play football in Egypt and you're still learning the game, this game said how important it was for you to understand the game of football before you play it. You saw NFL players playing this game who didn't know basic rules and who almost lost the game for their team because they didn't understand basic rules.
That sounds like a disaster.
The Colts were up 35-31 or 32, and the Lions had the ball. Very little time was left on the clock. Matthew Stafford, very reliable quarterback. He marched down the field. Excellent completions. What happened when the receivers caught the ball? They wouldn't go out of bounds. Now, why is it very important for you to go out of bounds when there's very few minutes left on the field? Because it stops the clock. It gives you more time to establish yourself.
Right.
Okay? You had 2 Lions receivers who didn't go out of bounds. And Matthew Stafford went crazy on them. He was shouting at them, "Get out of bounds! Why the F aren't you getting out of bounds? Get out of there!" And it just showed immaturity.
Right.
And that's why I said in week 1 that I don't know what the Lions are going to do. Because when you have an immature team who don't understand the basic rules of football, I can't see you winning the Super Bowl.
These players that you're talking about, are they rookies? Those who didn't go
No,
out
they
of
weren't.
bounds?
They weren't rookies. That's the thing. They weren't. They've been in the league for 2-3 years. So I don't understand what was going on through their head. I get it. You're in the moment. You want to be the player who wins the game. You're being flashy. You're hoping you're going to break a few tackles and then get a touchdown. But just go out of bounds. Stick to the game plan. Listen to what your coaches are telling you and go out of bounds. Your coaches know better than you.
When ego gets in the way, you know that you are bound for failure.
Exactly. Never make it about yourself. Trust your team. Trust your coaches. But good for the Lions. They still ended up doing it. Matthew Stafford was very composed. He spiked the ball, stopped the time, and they ended up scoring a touchdown. I was very happy for the Lions. The Colts, they look like a one-man team. Andrew Luck was on fire, helping the team, but he has no defense to help him. So the Colts are very average, unfortunately. They're a one-man team. He needs a lot of help on that team.
As we all know, football is a team sport.
Well, it's not tennis.
No, it's not.
So thank you for staying
Exactly,
in the office.
yes.
Thank you for staying in the office. High
Yes,
five.
high five.
That's the second one we do today. All right, let's move on to the Giants and Cowboys. The Giants winning 2019. Exactly the same thing happened in this game that happened with the Lions. The Cowboys had the ball last minute. Dak Prescott, the rookie quarterback who everyone had a lot of hype in, marched down the field, threw to Terrence Williams. Terrence Williams chose not to go out of bounds. 20 seconds left on the clock. He cuts inside. He gets tackled. The clock runs down. The Cowboys were not able to spike the ball, and they lost. If they had spiked the ball, they would have had a field goal range, and they would have gotten the field goal, and they could have won the game, and Dak Prescott would have won his first game in the NFL. But Terrence Williams effed it up for them.
He did indeed F it up for
And the
them.
Giants won the game, which is a shame because Dak Prescott could have won. There was a really funny joke about this. The Cowboys had a quarterback called Tony Romo, okay?
Right.
He got injured, and he's no longer playing, and he's probably no longer going to come back. I doubt he will come back. But there was a joke about how in these situations, the Cowboys weren't ready for this, that Terrence Williams didn't have experience in this situation, that he didn't know about the whole getting out of bounds thing, because in this situation, Tony Romo would have thrown an interception. So Terrence Williams would have never had the chance to get the ball and go out of bounds anyway.
Right.
Did you understand that joke?
No. There was a joke in there.
There was a joke in there.
I definitely did not catch that joke.
Because you don't know anything about
Because
football.
I don't know anything about football.
Well, I think our listeners would have understood that.
Well, hopefully they did, because hopefully they know something about
it was
football.
a very good joke.
Well, I'm sorry that it flew right over my head.
You could have faked laugh as if you got it. Thank you, I appreciate it. Wow, this is a disaster. This is a disaster.
I think it's working out pretty well,
I think it
if
is
you
too.
ask me.
Hey, you have an excellent radio voice.
I do have an excellent radio voice.
Yasmeen will tell us the story when we finish up, but first let's get to the New England Patriots against the Arizona Cardinals, the Sunday night game. Jimmy Garoppolo stepping in Tom Brady's shoes and winning the game, 264 yards and 1 touchdown. Good for him. Hey, the Cards could have won this one. It was a very close game, but good for the Patriots. I'm happy that the Patriots won. I think the Cardinals, they can lose this game and still be good. I picked the Cardinals to win the Super Bowl, by the way, and so did Abdul.
Right.
They lost their first game of the season, but I'm not troubled by it. If you're going to lose a game in the season, you're going to lose to a team like the Patriots.
Right.
The rest of the schedule is going to be easier, so they're going to bounce back. But good for the Patriots for winning, and good for Jimmy Garoppolo for showing how good of a quarterback he is. Excellent for him. I wonder if he's going to hang on and wait until Tom Brady retires so he can take over. I don't think he will.
So where is Tom Brady?
He's suspended.
Why?
It's this massive scandal thing that the NFL created to make money out of commercial purposes.
Right.
And they said that Tom Brady took air out of balls so that he can throw the ball better. And this whole scandal, it was ridiculous. And there were so many ball jokes happening about how Tom Brady had deflated balls and whatever.
But hey,
I don't care. The NFL thrives on scandals, and American audiences thrive on controversy, and that's what makes money. So I don't trust this. I'm into conspiracies, and I know that I'm sure that this was a conspiracy that the NFL created to generate attention. So whatever.
How long is he suspended for?
The first 4 weeks. So
All
Jimmy
right.
Garoppolo has 4 games to play to show how good of a quarterback he is. Because by the end of the season, I think teams are going to want to trade for him. And he's probably going to play with another team next year. 2 more games up for week 1. The Pittsburgh Steelers at the Washington Redskins. The Steelers dominated the Redskins. Oh, no.
I just wanted to say, I thought you weren't going to say the R word.
I did it again.
You did it again, twice in a row.
Oh, but I feel really bad now.
Well, you better watch your mouth.
The Pittsburgh Steelers were playing the Washington team.
There we go.
And they destroyed the Washington team. And I'm happy that they destroyed the Washington team. Because they are called the R word.
Yes.
And I hope that they will lose every game of the season until they change their name.
When will they get rid of their colonial past? They need to move past that really soon.
Yeah, it's
because this is ridiculous.
You know what Redskins means, right?
I know.
It's like bloody Indians.
I know.
Because the amount of Indians, the Native Americans that were killed.
I know.
It's absurd. It's
It is
crazy.
absolutely ridiculous.
It's disgusting, honestly. But good for the Steelers. Kirk Cousins, his 2 interceptions cost them the game. They didn't really have a rushing game. The defense, good for the Steelers' defense, but still, they let 329 passing yards. The Steelers' passing defense still isn't better. They need to pick that up if they want to keep going strong. I don't think they're going to keep going strong. D'Angelo Williams, their running back, the oldest running back to reach 100 yards in the NFL. Good for him. He used to be a Carolina Panther. I'm very happy for him. Josh Norman, the cornerback that was picked up by the Redskins, wasn't covering Antonio Brown. Why wasn't he covering Antonio Brown? He covered him only twice. What are you doing, Washington? What are you doing with your existence? Change your name. Get your best cornerback to cover the best receiver on the other team. Crazy.
Crazy world.
Last team. And last game that we're going to talk about is the St. Louis Rams at the San Francisco 49ers. The 49ers blew out the St. Louis Rams. I said St. Louis.
Wait, what is it?
They're not St. Louis.
Then what are they?
They moved to Los Angeles.
Oh.
Why am I saying St. Louis?
Because you're stuck
I'm
on the
stuck
past.
there. The Los Angeles
Get moving.
Rams. You know what? I think in the first episode, me and Abdu said St. Louis Rams every time.
And you did not correct yourselves.
And we didn't correct ourselves. And I don't think we even realized that we were saying the St. Louis Rams.
Well, it's okay because you've corrected yourself now.
The Los Angeles Rams. The San Francisco 49ers beat the Los Angeles Rams 28-0. Okay, there's a show called Hard Knocks on HBO. It covers a team for like 5 weeks during their training camp. And it shows everything that happens in team meetings and practices, players getting cut, blah, 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 blah. I don't like the Los Angeles Rams head coach, Jeff Fisher.
Why not?
He's never been a winning quarterback, okay? He's very obnoxious. Very, very obnoxious. And he made it a point to shout at his team in Hard Knocks about how they're no longer going to be a 7-9 team. I'm no longer gonna be a 7-9 team. We're gonna be better. We're gonna follow the rules. I'm gonna sneeze.
Bless you.
Thank you. Wow, that was a good sneeze. And we're gonna be better than 7-9. First week of the season, you didn't even score a single point.
Wow.
Jeff Fisher, you should be fired and you should no longer coach.
Oh,
in the
that's
NFL.
a 0.
That's a 0.
That is a 0.
28-0.
28-0.
The only team in the NFL this week not to score a single point. You should be ashamed of yourself, Jeff Fisher. You should be embarrassed about what your team is doing. You have so much talent for you to score nothing. And why is Keenum your quarterback? He had 130 yards and 2 interceptions. Where is your first-round pick in golf? Oh, right. He's on the bench, not even dressed. What are you doing, Los Angeles Rams? Why is Jeff Fisher your head coach?
I think these are very important questions that the Rams should ask themselves.
Yes, the Los Angeles Rams.
The Los Angeles Rams.
Yes.
Maybe it's the move.
No, I don't think it's
Maybe they haven't settled in yet.
I think it's Jeff Fisher.
Could be.
I think it's Jeff Fisher.
But also, moving is a difficult thing to do.
Yeah, but good for the 49ers. New head coach, new system. To win a game like that, that's good for them. I'm curious to see how they're going to be for us this season. But who knows?
Who knows?
Okay, before we get to week 2 and predict week 2, I want to talk to our listeners. We've had a lot of listener emails coming our way. We've had a lot of listeners coming in, contacting us. I'm very happy about that. In the last episode, we said in the end of the episode that if you heard till the end of the episode, we gave a keyword called banana. And we say, if you send us an email and say banana, we will take you out to lunch. And there were 3 people who sent us banana. The first listener is called Listener123. That's his username.
That's his username, Listener123. Wow.
Listener123. Thank you for listening to our episode, and thank you for sending us banana. Listener123 had a question for us, asking us, Mustafa, he didn't say Muzzy, he said Mustafa, why do you like the Saints so much? Hey, I lived there for 4 years. I liked them before they were a winning franchise, before Champagne and Drew Brees were there. I liked them before they were called the Aints, and that's why I like the Saints. Thank you, Listener123. We're going to take you out to a Shabrowi lunch very soon.
So not for bananas.
Not for bananas.
Okay.
A Shabrowi lunch.
All right.
Like one full sandwich.
Just one full sandwich.
Oh, for £1.50.
Well, maybe if you add a banana, the
it
man
will help things out.
Yes.
It will help things out. All right, I want to get to our next listener, okay, who's called Listener234. Believe it or not. What are the chances of that?
Listener123, Listener234.
What are the chances of the 2 listeners listening being called that?
It seems like your fan base is really in sync with each other, and that's a great thing to have.
Yeah, exactly. We're a very close community.
Yes,
you know?
yes.
So Listener234, you sent us an email saying, Why are you being so hard on the Vikings? Come on, give them a break. Things happen in NFL. Okay, I'm sorry, listener 234. I came back and I apologize. The Vikings defense looked good. They deserved that win. I gave a lot of respect to them, but I gave them a lot of beef because you have to have a good backup quarterback and you have to be prepared for your starting quarterback to go out. You can't just depend on your starting quarterback. You always have to have a backup quarterback. All right, let's go on to our third listener who sent us an email. Listener, guess what?
345.
Listener 345.
Oh,
What
look
are the
at
chances of that? Amazing. Listener 345
Amazing,
wants to
indeed.
ask, is Abdu single?
Oh.
Fancy that. Wants to ask if Abdu's single.
Is Abdu single? That
and
is
guess
a good
what?
question.
Abdu is single.
Ow!
And we will send you his number so you can message him. But hey, be careful. He might disappear on you for a week, even though he promised you a lot of things.
He is a flake, so you better be prepared.
Be careful. But he is single. All right, let's get to week 2. We're going to pick very quickly predictions here.
All right.
We're going to keep up to what happens, and next week we will get to who won and who lost. Now, the Jets and the Bills already played on Thursday. I had picked the Jets to win this game, and they did. They looked really good. Matt Forte had 3 touchdowns. Fitz, their quarterback, had 374 yards.
That is a lot of yards.
That is a lot of yards.
Yes.
The Jets' offense were on fire. They destroyed the Bills, and the Bills are now 0-2. I said I wasn't believing in the Rex Ryan whole head coaching thing, and I'm over the Ryan brothers. So what did the Bills do to compensate for them losing the first 2 games? They fired their offensive coordinator, which I think is total BS. Rex Ryan, I know you're listening to this, because I know that you listen to everything when anyone talks about you, because you are a a-hole. Rex Ryan, your offensive coordinator was not the fault here. Okay, you let in over 450 yards. Your defense sucks, and you're supposed to be a defensive-minded coach. Your offensive coordinator had nothing to do with this. It's all on you. You can use him as a scapegoat, but eventually it's going to catch up to you. And this is going to be your last year head coaching. And eventually you're just going to be a defensive coordinator, because that's all you really should do. You should just focus on defense, man, because you cannot handle a whole team right now.
And this ends Mustafa's lecture of the day.
Exactly. Mustafa's lecture of the day goes out to Rex Ryan.
Rex Ryan.
All right, let's pick the first game. The Saints play the Giants. Now, last year these two teams played against each other. More than 100 points were scored combined, which broke NFL records.
Oh,
Who'd
wow.
you got for the Saints and the Giants?
You know what? How can I be sitting with you here, Muzzy, and not say the Saints?
Exactly. How could you possibly not pick them? I'm also going to pick the New Orleans Saints to win this game. All right, let's move on to the Bengals at the Steelers. This is a really big AFC battle. One of these 2 teams could potentially win the division, and it needs to start here. They fought a lot in the past. Are they going to fight again? Are players going to get suspended? We will see, but I'm very excited. Who do you got? Bengals, Steelers?
I'm going to go with the Steelers.
I'm going to go with the Bengals.
All right.
All right, the next team is the Titans and the Lions. This is a very interesting game, because I hope this is the game that the Titans get their things together and hopefully they win. And the Lions, like I said, looking like a very immature team. So I'm going to pick the Titans.
You know what? I'm going to go with the Lions.
You're going to go with the Detroit team.
I'm going to go with the Lions, yes.
Fair enough. Okay, let's pick between the Ravens at the Browns. The Baltimore Ravens at the Cleveland Browns. Man, the Ravens, they had a very defensive game last game against the Bills, but they did well winning. I hope they can produce more on offense. Against the Browns, they should win this game. I don't see past them. The Browns have no chance. I'm picking the Ravens.
You know what? I will too, because what you just said makes a lot of sense, and I don't know any better.
Oh, that's so sexist. But anyway, it doesn't matter. We'll move on. All right, we're going to talk about the Dallas Cowboys at the Washington team. I caught myself there. I didn't say the R word.
Good for you.
I'm going to pick... this is a hard game, because the Cowboys, they looked good, but they're playing away, and the Redskins... I said Redska.
Can we just say that this says a lot, that, the Cowboys against the R word?
Yeah, this is terrible.
This is really terrible.
This is awful. This is terrible. But I'm going to pick I'm going to go with history in the literal sense and pick the Dallas Cowboys.
You know what?
Yeah.
I No, I don't. I will bow down from this prediction. I don't want to be a part of this.
Okay, Yasmeen bows out.
I do.
I'm happy. That makes me really proud
Thank you.
to know you.
All
that
right.
You did that.
Cool.
This is an excellent movement that you've started.
Yes. Because silence is a form of resistance. We need to remember that.
Yes. Okay, let's move on to the San Francisco 49ers at the Green Bay Packers. I can't see past the Packers winning this one. I know the 49ers looked good, but they were playing the Rams last week. The Green Bay Packers, I love the Packers. I love Aaron Rodgers. I'm going to go with the Packers.
You're going to go with the Packers?
Yep.
Well, since we learned a little bit of trivia about the Packers today, I'm going to go with them as well.
All right, excellent. The Miami Dolphins at the New England Patriots. I think the Patriots will suffocate Ryan Tannehill just like the Seahawks did. I'm going to pick the Patriots.
I'm going to pick the Dolphins because dolphins are lovely creatures.
They are lovely creatures.
They are. And I hope that they win.
Have you ever swam with
I
a
haven't,
dolphin?
no. I've seen them from afar, but I've not swam with them.
One day.
Yes,
one day
dreams
you'll get
do
to
come
it.
true.
Yes. The Kansas City Chiefs at the Houston Texans. This is a scary good game. This is the game to watch for me this week. I want the Texans to win mostly because of J.J. Watt and me picking them to go to the Super Bowl. And they're playing at home, so I'm going to pick the Houston Texans.
Well, home is always a good signifier.
It's where the heart is.
It's where the heart is.
Yeah.
So yes, I will go with that prediction as well.
Excellent. All right, let's go to the Seattle Seahawks at the St. Louis Rams. I'm really scared for Todd Gurley. He didn't have a good game last week. I thought he was going to be amazing this season, and then going to play against the Seahawks defense. Man, I hope he survives that game. I hope at least he has 75 yards or something. But I think the Rams are going to get destroyed, and the Seahawks are going to win this game. Los Angeles. Did I say St. Louis Rams again? Or
you did say St. Louis Rams.
Man,
again.
my mind is so conditioned to say St. Louis.
Right,
I need to
right.
say Los Angeles Rams.
You will get used to the Los Angeles Rams eventually.
Okay. Who'd you got? Who'd you got for this game?
You know what? I think I'm going to go with the Seahawks.
All right, good pick. Now let's move on to the Tampa Bay Bucks at the Arizona Cardinals. Bucks look scary. They look scary. But hey, they're going to be playing a good team in the Arizona Cardinals. They're not going to be playing against the Falcons. They'll be playing a really good team against the Cardinals. And I think the Cardinals should win this one. If the Bucks do win this game, then we should all be scared. Everyone should be scared of the Bucks if they beat the Cardinals in this game.
You know what? Since, my predictions are always on point,
Yeah.
I want to leave the element of surprise here, so I will not call this one either.
Why not?
Because my predictions are always on point, so, it's good to keep surprise and suspense going.
All right, fair enough. The Jacksonville Jaguars at the San Diego Chargers. I want the Jaguars to win this game to prove that they are a winning team, and the Chargers are a terrible organization. So please, Jaguars, please win this game.
All right. Please, Jaguars, please win this game.
Thank you. Let's go to the Atlanta Falcons at the Oakland Raiders. Just because the Raiders beat the Saints, the Raiders need to beat every other team in the NFC South so that it's even. And I don't like the Falcons, so I am picking the Raiders.
Well, again, if we're talking about the Saints, then you know what? I got to be on your side, and hopefully the Raiders will win it.
Let's go Raiders. All right, the Indianapolis Colts at the Denver Broncos. Come on, is this even fair? Is this fair?
It's not fair.
Putting the Broncos defense against Andrew Luck
It is
and
not
him playing
fair.
by himself. Come on, guy. NFL, why are you doing this to Andrew Luck? This is not fair. I'm going to pick the Broncos.
So just to recap, what's his name, Andrews?
Andrew Luck.
Andrew Luck. He's with the Colts. He's the one-man team. All right, then I guess it's the Broncos. Unless they change their ways and they all rise up together, the team together.
Come on. 1 week.
I said unless.
The Green Bay Packers at the Minnesota Vikings. Wait a minute. That doesn't make sense. Oh, I made a boo-boo.
Well, he made a boo-boo.
I said that the San Francisco 49ers are going to play the Packers, but the San Francisco 49ers are going to play the Panthers.
The Panthers.
I can't read my own handwriting.
Because
so
it is terrible.
Repick the San Francisco 49ers at the Carolina Panthers. Obviously, the Panthers are going to win that game.
Right, of course. Obviously, they're the Panthers.
Their home debut of the season, losing to the Denver Broncos. They need to win this game. And I think they will.
Yes.
If the 49ers beat the Panthers, that will be a surprise.
That would be a big surprise.
All right, let's go back. Green Bay Packers at the Minnesota Vikings.
I've already established that this episode I'm going with the Packers because I have developed a sort of connection with them.
Yes, but having the Minnesota Vikings defense. But no, I'm still picking the Packers.
All right.
Yeah, I don't trust the Vikings offense. I don't. But hey, they could surprise us. If they win, then I don't know what I'm talking about. But hey, I don't know what I'm talking about.
No,
Move on to the last game of the week, the Monday night game, the Philadelphia Eagles at the Chicago Bears. I think the Eagles will continue to dominate. The Bears are flopping. They're going to continue to flop. And the Eagles' offense looks really good. I can't see past them this game. I go for the Eagles.
You know what? I'm going to go with the Eagles as well.
Well, that's it. That recaps the whole week. That's week 1. And we predicted week 2. We'll be back next week to see what happens and see how right and wrong we are. But before we say goodbye, Yasmeen wants to say something.
Well, it's been a fun ride, but hopefully next week it won't be we. It will be you and Abdo, because hopefully he is safe and sound and we'll be back next week.
Well, thank you, Yasmeen, for coming.
Well, it's been my absolute pleasure, Muzzy.
It's been great having you. We had a pretty
great
good.
being here.
I think we've had a pretty good episode.
I think we did. We did indeed.
Besides my mishap of saying
yes,
that 49ers
the
and
St.
Panthers,
Louis and yes,
and
that's
then the
all right.
St. Louis stuff.
That's okay.
Hey, I'm new to this.
You are.
I'm not an expert.
That's all right.
There's no such thing as experts in football.
Of course.
Okay? And I'm not an expert.
Of course
I will
not.
make mistakes.
Yes.
And I think that's the beauty of it.
Yes.
I like that we don't edit our episodes.
As long as you learn from those mistakes, Muzzy,
Exactly.
you're good to go.
But most people will edit their episodes and they'll make sure that they don't show their mistakes, but we're not scared of that.
This is raw, this is organic.
Yeah, we shoot and we release.
Exactly.
Because we like improv, and I think you will as well.
Yes.
So listener 1, 2, 3, listener 2, 3, 4, and listener 3, 4, 5. We hope we hear again from you, and we hope to hear from more listeners. Maybe listener 5, 6, 7 will get back to us.
Now, don't forget to send your emails over with questions.
Send us questions. Anything you want to talk about, we will bring you up and we will talk to you.
What is the passcode for this episode?
Well, we're not going to take out anyone for lunch anymore.
That's it? That's done?
That was last week.
Okay, all right.
But if you send us an email with any question, anything you have, we will get back to you. Thank you for listening to the ENFLP, the Egyptian National Football League podcast. My name is Muzzy.
And I'm Yasmeen.
Who that?
Who that?
Who that say gonna beat them Saints?
Who that?
Who's gonna beat them Saints?
Who's gonna beat them Saints?
Everyone's gonna beat the Saints.
That's a shame.